Threads. The objectives of this lesson are to define a thread and identify the basic components of a thread. Moreover, I shall differentiate threads and processes. Finally, the objective is to describe the benefits and challenges of designing multi-threaded applications. What is a thread? There are several definitions of a thread. The simplest definition is a thread is a basic unit of CPU utilization. Yet another viewpoint is thread is a flow of control within a process. Flow of control means the execution order of program instructions. Hence, thread describes in what order program instructions will be executed. A thread can also be defined as a smallest set of instructions in a program that can be executed independently. From this definition, we can infer that program instructions can be split into number of sets in such a manner that each set can be executed independently. And each of these sets is called a thread. Last definition is thread is a part of the process capable of performing a specific task. So, a process may have many such parts, and each part or thread can perform a specific task. For our further discussion, these two definitions are important, that thread is a flow of control within a process, and the other definition is it is a smallest set of instructions in a program that can be executed independently. In order to understand a thread, first we should have an understanding of a process. A traditional process has a single thread of control. Historically, process has a single thread of control. Recall the definition. Thread is a set of instructions within a process that can be executed independent of other sets. And execution of this set can be determined by the value of program counter register. Hence, we can say a traditional process has only one sequence of instructions. This means there is only one set of instructions, and the execution order for this set can be determined by the value of program counter register. So there would be one program counter register for this single set of instructions. This figure, it shows the address space of a process. An address space can be defined as range of memory addresses that process can access. In other words, address space is a memory region that is owned by a specific process. The address space can be further divided into 4 different sections: stack section, heap section, data section, and code section. Stack section, it contains the function parameters, local variables, and return addresses. Heap is a memory section that is dynamically allocated to the program, such as a runtime memory allocated to objects. Data section stores global variables, and code section stores the process instructions. If we look into more detail, our hypothetical process has a single sequence of instructions, and this sequence is composed of one main method and two functions f1 and f2. Program counter register holds the address of the first instruction in the main method. This figure, it shows the flow of execution control. It shows that program instructions are being executed step by step in the same order as they appear in the program. Starting with the first block of statements in the main method, this block will be executed first as it appears in the main method. Then control will be transferred to this function f1 because main is calling f1 function. So from here control will be transferred to the function f1, and the block of statements in the function f1 will be executed afterwards. So the block of statements in function f1 is being executed. After this, control will be returned back to the main method, and in main method, block of statements known as statement 3 will be executed. So this is the block of statements, the statements 3. So this block will be executed. After executing this block of statements, there is a function called f2. So control will be transferred to the function f2, and block of statements in f2, statements 4, this block will be executed, which is mentioned here. And after executing this block of statements, control will be transferred back to the main method. And in main method, next block of statements is block 5. So block 5 will be executed, and after this main method terminates. So program will terminate here. This traditional process can perform only one task at a time. As we can see from this execution sequence, that execution proceeds step by step as instructions appear in the program, and a single thread process can perform only one task at a time. Multi-threaded process. A multi-threaded process has two or more threads of control. Remember, a thread is a unique set of instructions that can be executed independently. Hence, multi-threaded process, it has two or more sets of instructions. The meaning of two or more threads of control, it shows that there are two or more sets of instructions that can be executed independently. Moreover, in each of these sets, flow of execution will be determined by the program counter register, as before we have seen in a single threaded process. However, because there are two or more different sequence of instructions, so there will be a program counter register per thread. Every thread will have an associated program counter register. Now look at the process address space of a multi-threaded process. As before, it has code section, data section, and heap section. However, now there are three threads in the process address space: thread 1, thread 2, and thread 3. The presence of these three threads indicate that there are three different set of instructions that can be executed independently, and each of these sets, they share the heap, data and code section. However, these sets have an associated stack. Thread 1 has stack 1, likewise thread 2 has corresponding stack 2, and finally thread 3 has corresponding stack 3. This is our hypothetical process. However, we have used an imaginary function thread. What this function does, it will take a parameter, a function name, and will convert this function into a thread. Remember, function 1 as well as function 2, these are two independent functions, and these functions can be executed independent of the main method, the main function. So what we have done, we have converted these functions, or these set of instructions in function 1 and in function 2 into two different threads. Here this thread function call, an imaginary function thread, it converts function 1 into a thread, and likewise function 2 is being converted into another thread by using this function call thread. Now each of these threads has its unique flow of control that is determined by the corresponding value of program counter register. Like main is a thread, so its execution sequence or flow of control can be determined by the value of program counter register 1. Likewise, function 1 belongs to another thread and its flow of control can be determined by the value of PC2. And similarly, function 2 belongs to the third thread and its execution sequence can be determined by the value of program counter register 3. And this part of the figure indicates that three threads are being executed concurrently. The main thread and the execution sequence is determined by PC1. Function F1, this set of instructions is being executed independent of the main thread, and its flow of control is determined by PC2. And similarly, the third thread that belongs to function 2, and this thread is also being executed independent of these two threads, main thread and F1 thread, and its flow of control is determined by the value of PC3. So a multi-threaded process can perform multiple tasks at a time. So these three independent tasks, the task defined by the main method, the task defined by the F1 method, and the task defined by the F2 method. These are three different tasks, independent tasks, and they are being performed or executed concurrently at the same time. So what is the difference between a single thread and a multi-threaded process? The context of a single thread process, it has code section, data section, associated files. It may include file descriptor table, the CPU registers, program counter register, and stack. And finally, it has heap section. So A single thread has this context, whereas in multi-threaded process, again, all the threads will have code, data, files, and heap. These four sections, code, data, files, and heap, will be shared by these different threads, these three different threads. However, we can see the difference from single thread process that in multi-threaded process, each thread has its own program counter register. This program counter register determines the flow of execution within this thread, and each thread has associated stack as well as CPU registers. So registers, stack, and program counter, these will be unique for each thread in the process. However, code, data, files, and heap will be shared by these three threads. So, what are the components of a thread? A thread has a thread ID. Every thread in the system has a thread ID. Thread ID is a unique integer value that distinguishes this thread within the system from other threads. Moreover, every thread has associated program counter register, a stack section, and CPU registers. So, what is the motivation for using multi-threaded applications? Applications may be required to perform several similar tasks. In certain situations, a single application may be required to perform several similar tasks. For example, a web server accepts hundreds of client requests. These requests are for web pages, and these web pages may contain images, text, sound, or videos. A busy web server, it may have several clients. These are the clients, and these clients may be accessing this web server concurrently. If web server is being run as a single threaded process, then it would service only one client at a time. And the client might have to wait a very long time for its request to be serviced. So response time will be increased because web server will receive the request from this client. It will process this request, will generate the response that will include a web page that is composed of text, images, or maybe sound, and then this response will be returned to this client. So these clients which are accessing the web server at the same time when the request was made by this client, these clients will have to wait. Response time for these clients will be increased. So one solution to mitigate this problem is to create another process to service the request. The idea is web server will create another process, a child process, to service the request of this client, while the server process will be receiving requests from the other clients, from these clients. However, this solution is costly because process creation is time consuming and resource intensive. It takes considerable time to create a new process because process creation involves to make a system call to the operating system to create another process. And after receiving this system call, operating system will create the child process and will copy the address space of the parent process for this child process. Operating system will also allocate resources for this new child process. So process creation is both time consuming and as well as resource intensive. Another solution is to have a multi-threaded web server process. Under this solution, one thread listens client requests and another thread is created to service the client request. So now there are two threads. One thread will receive the requests from the clients, from these clients, and after receiving a particular request, the server process will create another thread, and this thread will process the request of a particular client. This is indicated in this figure that client makes a request to the server process. Upon receiving this request, server process will create a new thread to service the request that has been received from this client. So after creating this thread, now this thread will deal with this request. This thread will process this request and will generate the HTML response that will be returned to the client. Meanwhile, when this thread is going to service the client request, server process is free to resume listening for additional client requests. Another motivation is processors have multi-core architecture. Modern day processors have different cores or different processors on a single chip. Multi-core architecture means two or more independent processors into a single chip. So all the modern day processors, they have multi-core architecture. This multi-core or multi-processor architecture can be used to achieve parallelism. Parallelism means execution of multiple tasks in parallel, that we can schedule every different task on a different core. So multiple tasks in the application can be implemented by separate threads. So an application may have different threads and these threads can be scheduled onto these different cores. So having multi-core architecture and a multi-threaded process that is being run on this multi-core architecture, it will increase the efficiency of the system. It will boost the system performance. Multi-threaded applications. Most modern day applications are multi-threaded. So there is an increasing trend to design applications that make use of multi-thread architecture. The examples include web browser and word processing. A web browser is implemented using multi-threaded architecture. In a web browser process, there may be a thread that renders the images on the screen. There might be another thread that displays the text on the screen. Yet another thread, it retrieves the data on the network. So a web browser process has been implemented as a multi-threaded process, and each thread can perform a specific task like displaying images or displaying text or retrieving data from the network, and these tasks can be performed independent of the other tasks, and these tasks can be executed concurrently, or maybe these tasks can be executed in parallel on different cores of the processor. The second example is the word processing. Word processing applications also have been implemented using multi-threaded architecture. In a word processing process, there might be a thread that is processing keystrokes. The keys that user have pressed, this thread will read these keys and will display them on the screen. And there might be another thread that does the spelling and grammar check. This thread can run in the background and it will keep examining for the errors in the typing or in the grammar. And there is another thread that will periodically take the backup of the file. It will auto-save the document. And yet another thread might be busy dealing with the printer to print the document. Apart from the applications, user applications, operating systems are also being designed using multi-threaded architecture. So kernels are generally multi-threaded because a kernel is composed of different services, and these services can be implemented different threads. For example, there might be a thread that deals with interrupt handling, yet another thread might deal with the memory requirement for the process. There might be another thread that would keep looking for the free spaces in the memory. So kernels are generally implemented or designed using multi-threaded architecture. So what are the benefits of multi-threading? The first of these benefits is increased responsiveness. Other thread may provide rapid response while one thread is blocked or slowed down due to the reason that it is doing intensive calculations. So if an application has been designed using multi-threaded architecture and one thread that belongs to this application, this thread is blocked due to some reason, the other threads in that application, they might keep running. So in this way, these threads may provide rapid response. The responsiveness of the application will be increased because no doubt this one thread is blocked, the other threads are available, they are not blocked, they are ready to run. So those other threads will keep running, thus giving the user impression that application is not stuck. Another benefit is resource sharing. Threads share resources of the process to which they belong, and it is easier than shared memory or message passing scheme that is used for inter-process communication into between multiple processes. Processes need inter-process communication tools like shared memory or message passing to share data and information with other processes. And these mechanisms, shared memory and message passing, these mechanisms must be provided by the programmer. Programmer should ensure that applications can communicate with each other using these IPC schemes. However, in case of multi-threaded application, the different threads of a single application, they can communicate without the need for IPC mechanisms because The threads that belong to a single application, they share the resources of that process to which they belong. By default, thread shares resources of the process to which it belongs. So they don't need IPC mechanisms to communicate with each other. Moreover, another benefit is the economy. Threads are cheaper than process creation. Moreover, process context switching is costly than thread switching. Why process creation is costly and thread creation is cheaper? Because process creation involves a system call. It takes operating system to create a new process and to allocate resources for that process. Whereas threads are created by the user. It doesn't involve operating system. So it is cheaper to create a thread as compared to create a process. Moreover, process context switching is costly because whenever there will be a context switch, one process PCB will be saved and the PCB of another process will be reloaded, and it takes a considerable time to perform this operation. Whereas in case of a thread, if we have to switch from one thread to another thread of the same application, this is a lot easier as compared to process switching, because the context of a thread is little as compared to the context of a process. So it will take less time to switch between threads as compared to switch between processes. Another benefit of multi-threading is scalability. Processes can take advantage of multi-core architectures. Now, a single threaded process can only run on one CPU, no matter how many CPUs are available. Whereas execution of a multi-threaded application may be split among available processors. So in this way, multi-threaded application, they can take advantage of multi-core architectures. However, a single thread process cannot take advantage of multi-core architecture because a single thread process will run on only one core. So what are the challenges of multi-threading? Identifying tasks. This involves examining applications to find areas that can be divided into separate concurrent tasks. Ideally, subtasks of a process should be independent of each other so that they could exploit the multi-core architecture. Consequently, programmer must find areas in the application so he could divide the application into different independent tasks, and these tasks will run concurrently. Another challenge is to keep balance. Programmers must also ensure that tasks perform equal work of equal value. It shouldn't be the case that some tasks are computation intensive while others are not. Computational load should be equally distributed among the tasks. The third challenge is data splitting. The data accessed and manipulated by the tasks must be divided to run on separate cores. As we have divided a process or application into different tasks, so is the case with data. Data should be split into different sections, and these different data should be accessed and manipulated by tasks, by different tasks. Another challenge is data dependency. The data accessed by the tasks must be examined for dependencies between two or more tasks. This means one task depends on the data from another task. And when there is such data dependency, then we must provide synchronization mechanism to ensure or to avoid any inconsistency in the operations. And finally, the challenge is in testing and debugging. Testing and debugging such concurrent programs is inherently more difficult than testing and debugging single-threaded application. Because the reason is in multi-threaded applications, there are multiple execution paths which are possible. Hence, it becomes more difficult to test and debug these different execution paths. Whereas in single-threaded application, there will be only one execution path, or there will be only one execution sequence, and it is easier to find errors or to debug a single execution sequence as compared to test and debug an application that has different execution paths or execution sequences.